All right, so this is the WIKISPEED stand-up meeting for, what is this, 2015, March 19th. Um, so last week I was able to finish the accelerator extension cable I was working on. I made a demo and it says here it's not uploaded yet. It's actually in the process of uploading to my personal account, and then I'll get that moved over to the WIKISPEED account for a good demo that can be shared to everyone. Um, I attended the South by Southwest Extreme Agile Build Party that was hosted by Scrum Inc. And I have written here, and it's very true, that it was double fucking awesome. In fact, I ended up Facebook, tweeted, and Instagram pics and video from the double fucking awesome Agile Build Party. And let's see, what else did we do? Okay, so I set up the WikiSpeed Online Team Carica board, and I invited at least the people I could remember, the normal people that jump on this call every week. And I think many of them have actually gone ahead and got on the board. And I don't know if that I don't even know if I wrote it down here, but I did start putting some information about how the board works and trying to get some preliminary task in there anyway until we can get a good product owner meeting and really kick off with it. Okay, I set up a SourceForge account. That's under info at wikispeed.com. And I added Michael Lolchek to the Team WikiSpeed project on that. And I have extra words written here. That don't make sense. Sorry. Okay, and I approved and answered one comment on the website that was related to our previous engine module block, just kind of basically catching them up with what's going on, what's next, stuff like that. I updated 7 WordPress plugins after backing up the website. And actually, Michael, you may be interested in this. I did this today because it was actually a previous process improvement from probably months ago by now that I never did get taken care of. But I created a folder, or as Gmail calls it, a label for new team members, so that once the new team member has been invited to join the Google group, you can move the email to that label or folder, or whoever does it, and that way it's easier to track um, when all the steps are done. I know it gets confusing sometimes. If, like, I saw if somebody clicks on an email and you don't know that it's not been replied to because they just viewed it, because we have multiple people viewing that email address. Um, it seems like there was something else, but I clearly didn't write it down. So for next week, I'm going to keep it kind of light because I am actually a little bit worn out from the build party and hanging out at South by Southwest. So what I've written down so far is something I didn't get to is I needed to test and tune the FM stereo transmitter. I plan on going and creating some immediately actionable backlog items for the WikiSpeed Online team board on Carica that'll probably really consist of grabbing tasks from other boards that can be done by an online team that aren't limited to a local shop. And then I also, it's something I kind of started doing last week, but I'm studying for the FEMA Incident Command System CERT test for emergency response teams. I think there's like maybe 6 or 7 of them. It's basically when there's like, when they to volunteer for any kind of emergency disaster relief. On the IT side anyway, which is what I'm on, it's required to be certified in this incident command system. So I've been looking over that. And I do not have any blocks. So I think that wraps up this portion. Did you want to go ahead, Michael?
Sure. Moving the new member over to a folder is going to be helpful. I don't have printouts like we had printouts of the application forms a long time, and then when we started doing the online stuff, that just kind of stopped. So there's probably a year and a half that we haven't got done yet, and when I'm thinking of stuff to do, I just never think of that. Anyway, so we'll get started on that. Maybe I'll put that in my sprint planning. I'm actually down in Phoenix right now. The open source motor controller that that I've been trying to test. I talked a little bit to Rob about it last week on the call. Made some progress this week. It was a silly little thing that I had forgotten to do with the accelerator position. So we're next week I should be able to make some progress on that. And a much simpler version that just does turns a transistor on and off from an Arduino. I've got a beta board for it, so I'll be populating that. Probably not next week; it'll be the week after that. But that's much less money than the thousands of dollars for a controller. So hopefully that kind of dovetails in with our cheap PC controller. And that will be about it. And I have no blocks.
Awesome. On the folder thing. So and actually we could this would be a good thing to put maybe in that new online Carica board to go through those. But as we move them over, we can print them. But it'll be fairly easy to go up once it went from being scan the document and mail it or fax it in or email it or fax it in. Once that form was created, they all have the same three words in the beginning of the subject. So if you put quotes around those three words, which I think is just like new team member, it'll pull up. There's like 150 of them, so it pulls up all of them. So it should be, I mean, granted that's quite a bit of work to go through, but it should be easier you won't have to go through all of the email to be able to move those over. So I guess that takes us into retrospective. I'm going to go for my ability to contribute to the team. I'm going to go 9. I would have gone 10 because of all the awesome stuff I got to do this week, but it also just really wore me out actually. And so I don't know if my ability to contribute to the team is quite where I'd like it to be. And definitely 10 for the team. I've seen so many emails. Getting to participate in a build party always amps me up really good. So for a process improvement, hold on. Oh, so this is something I ran across today. I think it would be good too to create a master WIKISPEED backlog in Carica for all the distributed teams and boards to pull from. And there's actually a feature in Carica now that's called, I think it's like shared backlog option. So you can set up a board, and then any other board that basically that you have permission to, you can use its backlog or a column in it as a backlog in which you can pull into any other board. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how clear I just made the way I explained that. But anyway, there's an option that may actually make this possible, so that there can be one board that kind of works as just the overall general. This is what we want to do, and then individual teams or people with individual boards can pull from that. And supposedly, from what I read, you can drop things back in there from your own board, and it makes it back available to the other people and things like that. So that would be my process improvement suggestion anyway, or proposal.
Were you doing sprint planning?
I'm sorry. I covered sprint planning earlier. Did I cut you off on sprint planning?
No, I don't have a lot of sprint planning, so that's fine. Apparently I wasn't paying attention. Retrospective, I'm going to give myself like a 4. Didn't get very much stuff done. Team is doing well. I'm going to go with a 9, and I'll agree with your process improvement. Having a global backlog to pull from and then to put things back into is useful. The only other thing that would be getting the scrum of scrums off the drawing board and into implementation, but we don't actually know all of the different groups that the scrum of scrum would cover, so it's kind of hard for us to do that without Joe being on the call. So, that one's kind of blocked right now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I would say so. The first step may be creating this backlog. So I don't have a problem this week creating a master backlog. Now each individual, there's some boards out there that I'm just a team member of that I'm not a project manager of, so I can't change this option. So it'll be up to each individual person who's running one of the boards, and I can write something up for it. But to go in and basically pick that backlog as their shared backlog. And like I said, I'll put some more information into the forum about it. So, And do we have any crosstalk or anything that we need to discuss um, about what we're currently working on?
I don't think so. I don't have anything to contribute on the South by Southwest stuff. Oh, there was a Kickstarter project that was looking at doing a transmission with a like a wasn't a continuously variable. It was a fix or a couple of fixed values, but they were actually using like a ceramic ball to transfer the torque from the smaller or from the larger disc on the inside to the disc on the outside. So it's like a planetary gear, but they were using ceramic balls and a chase, and there was a transfer fluid in between. Um, it looked like they could do a 10-to-1 gear ratio, so I talked to them a little bit about doing the South by Southwest, like a small horsepower transfer from, like we're talking about a 5 horse motor, just to get it moving or electric and whatever. That fell through. I don't know whether we should we still need to talk to these guys about getting a prototype. They're not cheap. They're like $750 each, so it'd be $1,500 for the two sides.
Hmm.
I don't have a good mechanical grasp of if they're doing something that's new and interesting, or if they just didn't do enough research, if they've been done already, or what exactly the story is. But their Kickstarter project's not going well. They're not going to make their funding requirements.
I see. I see.
So,
That actually reminded me of something, Michael, that I'd forgotten about, and I now I need to look up when it's actually going to be. But Earth Day, I want to say it's in May sometime. I went last year to the one in Dallas, and I think that it's still open to presenters at this point. And I wanted to look into it. I know you have to pay to go there. I'm not sure how much it is, but if I'll get the details worked out and put it in the forum, of course. But it may be interesting to see if we can maybe get some sort of a car out there at Earth Day, uh, Dallas this year, and I wouldn't mind going out there and getting the car shipped there and doing some kind of event. So, but my point
well,
being
I think
that
Earth
may
Day
is go ahead.
Earth Day is spread in a lot of cities. It's not just in California or whatever. So
Right.
we might have the opportunity to contribute or participate in a few of them.
Right, right. And I want to say here, I want to say it's close to the end of May. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I need to look that up because we need to find out what the deadline to apply to present would be. But it just reminded me, it just made me think of what you were talking about, that it may still be a viable, if that is a viable solution, it may be still something we would look into. So,
Yeah, I think we should at least talk about it because the transmissions, I mean, are fine. It's just we don't have the linkage. The cabin that we've got isn't really set up for a clutch and a mechanical linkage to the rear of the car. So automatic transmissions are much easier to deal with because it's cables that you're disconnecting, but it's still got to make its way through the cabin out the back.
right.
Single speed transmissions would be less complicated to deal with, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, anything that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think I covered most of it in the normal stand up. So I think I'm good.
Alrighty, well, I think this is a new record.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on the call, Michael, and we'll see you next
Okay,
week.
well, I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.